The end of the UNAMI, United Nations Assistance Mission for Iraq, mission in Iraq, and the evacuation of Al-Assad Air Base by American forces and handing over the base to Iraqi forces is another sign of Iraq's independence, stability, and political sovereignty, and we are very happy to see this.
The United States is reportedly stepping up its aerial and defensive presence in the Middle East, deploying at least 12 F-15 fighter jets and 4 KC-135 refueling aircraft to Jordan as tensions with Iran reach a boiling point. According to defense sources, the deployment involved transferring aircraft from the United Kingdom's Royal Air Force Base in Lakenheath to the Muwaffaq Salti Air Base in Jordan, a logistics hub often used for major U.S. operations across the region. Defense Security Asia, citing open-source intelligence and flight tracking data, revealed the movement of the fighter squadron and support planes, suggesting the deployment was part of a wider operational realignment by U.S. forces. Military analysts believe this latest repositioning of aircraft underscores Washington's heightened state of operational readiness amid rising speculation that a military confrontation with Iran may be imminent. The advanced F-15 variants positioned in Jordan are known for their versatile role, capable of dominating both air-to-air combat and executing deep precision strikes against high-value ground targets. The accompanying KC-135 Stratotankers are designed to increase flight ranges and sortie rates, allowing U.S. aircraft to remain in the air longer, a critical advantage during sustained operations or long-range deterrence missions. Jordan's Muwaffaq Salti Air Base, already a key facility for coalition operations, was previously used to defend Israeli airspace against Iranian missile threats, highlighting its continuing strategic importance in regional defense. The growing buildup of American air and naval assets in the Middle East is now fueling fears that Washington may be preparing to launch a decisive strike targeting Iran's leadership or key military installations. Reports also indicate multiple U.S. warships are sailing toward Middle Eastern waters, reinforcing deterrence capabilities as concerns mount over the possibility of an all-out conflict between Iran and Western forces. In an interview with Politico earlier this month, President Donald Trump stated, "It's time to look for new leadership in Iran," marking his strongest signal yet that the U.S. could confront Tehran directly if tensions continue to rise. Trump escalated further on Truth Social, where he attacked Iran's supreme leader, calling Ayatollah Ali Khamenei a sick man and describing the country as the worst place to live, sparking outrage within Iran's leadership circles. Following Trump's remarks, the Iranian government condemned what it viewed as a blatant threat of assassination, warning that such statements crossed red lines and could provoke severe consequences. On January 18th, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian declared that any attack on Supreme Leader Khamenei would trigger a full-fledged war, vowing that Iran would respond with total force to any U.S. or Israeli aggression. In his statement, Pezeshkian also blamed the United States and its allies for Iran's economic suffering, denouncing what he described as inhumane sanctions imposed by Western powers that have devastated the nation's economy and its people. A senior Qatari royal has issued a rare and blunt warning to the United States, declaring that Washington is merely a tenant, not the owner of the Udeid Air Base, a statement reflecting frustration over America's shifting presence in the Middle East. The royal reportedly asserted that shutting down the massive base would not harm Qatar much, but would instead paralyze America's reach across the region, a clear message underscoring the Gulf nation's growing leverage in U.S. military strategy. In a pointed comparison, the Qatari leader warned that losing access to Udeid would be like cutting off one of your hands in the Middle East, highlighting how heavily U.S. operations rely on Qatari infrastructure and cooperation. Analysts say Qatar increasingly views the base's strategic advantage as serving Washington far more than Doha, with its government signaling a desire to recalibrate the relationship after years of hosting American forces. Udeid Air Base, the largest U.S. military installation in the region, was also among the sites reportedly targeted by Iran during its June 2025 missile barrage in the 12-day war, underscoring its vulnerability and strategic value. Meanwhile, in neighboring Iraq, U.S. forces have now completed their withdrawal from the Ain al-Assad Air Base, transferring full security authority to the Iraqi army after years of shared control. Iraq's Ministry of Defense confirmed the transition, announcing that its forces had fully assumed control of the sprawling desert installation, a site that once served as a vital hub for U.S. military operations in the region. This withdrawal comes as part of the 2024 bilateral agreement between Washington and Baghdad to phase out the U.S.-led coalition presence by late 2025, a move marking one of the final stages of America's military drawdown in Iraq. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi publicly praised the U.S. exit from Ain al-Assad, calling it a positive step toward regional sovereignty during a meeting with his visiting Iraqi counterpart in Tehran.
We believe that Iraq's security is part of regional security, which means that Iran's security is part of regional security. Therefore, we care about Iran's security and the security of the Iranian people as well as the security of the whole region.
We especially discuss the diplomatic and political proposals between Iraq and Iran, which can be drawn up toward moving forward stability and peace in the region. The end of the UNAMI, United Nations Assistance Mission for Iraq, mission in Iraq, and the evacuation of al-Assad airbase by American forces and handing over the base to Iraqi forces is another sign of Iraq's independence, stability, and political sovereignty, and we are very happy to see this.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.